Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Is everyone out there ready? That's the real question.
I am so excited. I'm way too excited.
Looks a little different, doesn't it, everybody?
It sure does.
Wait till we get into it. It's going to be even better. Guys, this is the all-new Me and Jesse podcast. Here's the new intro. We'll be right back.
Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavlich and Jesse Martineau.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Me and Jesse podcast. I am Mark Pavlich, and across from me in the Grove, the one and only Mr. Jesse Martineau.
It's like I can almost reach out and touch you because our sets line up perfectly.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome.
Well, everybody, good to be back. We had a great Christmas holiday. Hope you did as well, even though there was some nasty protocols out there. But we're back. We're back in action. This is the all-new Me and Jesse podcast Sports Edition, where we were going to talk all about sports all the time. We're going to actually do something we've never done on the Me and Jesse podcast. Tonight, is have a guest. And every show after this, we're going to have guests. And it's going to be absolutely awesome because we're not going to get just, the guy that runs 3 kilometers down the lane every day. We're not getting him. We're getting professional athletes.
No, we're not getting the 5-pin bowling champion of Leduc. It's not happening. Okay, that is not happening on this show on the Me and Jesse podcast. Everybody, we're stepping up. We're really excited to be back after the holidays. What's new, Jesse? What happened? Anything new besides
Christmas is awesome. I love Christmas time. I genuinely love Christmas. It's my favorite time of the year. And so, I did Christmassy stuff. I did my regular Christmas routine. And had the old Yule log on the TV and opened the presents and ate turkey, and that's what we did. And I drank a few of these babies.
What's that one? What do you got there?
Well, this one is actually a Ribstone Creek Imperial Dark Ale made in Edgerton, Alberta, wherever that is. And
you know what's funny? Me being a geographical whiz,
yes.
I usually know where everything is.
Yeah.
I do not know where that is.
I don't know where Edgerton is.
Me neither.
Someone help us out there. But
someone chime in.
We we had a good Christmas time. How about you?
Fantastic time. I mean, my parents didn't come this year, and my daughter, they all stayed away because of the restrictions and things like that. But Mano and I had a fantastic time. Now we have the World Juniors going on,
yes.
Right? Canada winning right now, 3-0.
So
against 3-0 against Russia.
Are we allowed to say that anymore?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean 3-0 doesn't mean anything.
Not in the World Junior tournament.
World Junior World.
If we've learned anything.
If you got to get to 8, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, get 8 to 8 and then you're all set, right?
Well, people were upset that there was they ran up the score 16 on Germany, and you're like, well, hey, it's a goal based tournament, so what you need goals.
Hey, if Germany's playing us in soccer, okay, Canada, it's gonna be 40-0, and they're gonna run it up till the cows come home. So people, this isn't like pee wee hockey, or this isn't like this is the way it is, guys. When it's country against country, you bury them. You bury them, and you bury them deep.
Hey,
That's
this
how
isn't bad. This is pretty good.
What are we giving that? I'm
giving that a 4.5 out of 5.
Ooh, watch yourself now. Watch yourself now.
Into that one during the show.
Well, everybody, you can find us here every Monday. Don't forget, 5 p.m. Mountain, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on the Me and Jesse podcast. It will be every Monday, 5 p.m. Mountain time.
Well, Sam's trying to call in, our first guest ever on the Me and Jesse podcast. Mark, why don't you set it up, and we'll let Sam in.
All right, man. Everybody, please welcome to the Me and Jesse podcast, the one and only Smiling Sam Alvey, 20-time UFC vet.
20 times.
20
Yeah.
times.
How you doing today, Sam?
I am doing wonderful. How are you, sir?
We're doing good. This is the first ever sports edition of our podcast. We've been doing this for over 3 years, but we decided to flip this over and do sports because Mark and I mean, as you know, Mark, we both love sports, and Mark being an MMA guru himself, we decided to go down this road.
Can we see Sam? Can we see Sam? We can just hear him, or can you see him?
My camera was on.
I think on mine.
There he is.
There you go.
There's the smile.
There he is. Sammy, how many times do you use the smile emoji a day? How many times a day?
It's now a thing. You know, they made the smile emoji after me. I'm like the likeness of it. So I use it in every text, every post, everything.
Well, it is a famous smile, and it's one that I love seeing when it shows up on the fight card, and you always know you're going to be entertained, and that is, to me, what that's about. And I love seeing you, and so welcome to the show, and thanks for coming.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Now, Sam,
Debut show. I'm so happy to be on that.
yeah, well, we figured we wanted a home run right off the get-go, so we needed you on the show. But Sam, I wanted to ask you that. Do you think that that's a new thing now in MMA where fighters are so scared to lose, they forget to fight, and you've never got that memo? Like you've never gotten that one.
Yeah, I mean, the record is such an important thing now. I mean, people are getting into the UFC earlier, so the UFC can say, well, they're undefeated. They're undefeated. People are terrified to get that loss, and so they fight very safe. They fight in a way that loss is not easily going to come.
Well, do you see, it's funny. I saw that even on your current record, right? I've always been following your career since back in the day. And you know what's crazy? When I watched your record, I thought, your last fight where it became a draw, I was like, 99% of people would have been cut from the UFC. You know what I mean? In that scenario. And I, what's funny? I knew it, Sam. I knew they couldn't cut someone like you just because the sole fact is they know when you show up, it's going to be a fight. Like you're not going to sit there and hug someone to death. You're not going to sit there and lay on someone the whole time. And I hate to see fighters not understanding that from someone like you that's fought in the UFC 20 times. That they haven't learned their lesson going, you know what, man, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm really going to put it out there.
Yeah, so in that last fight, my first 2 rounds were like I easily won. They were great rounds, a high punch count. Round 3, a lot of fighters, they go out and they just try and coast. If they lose, it's fine. They just lay back. They don't need to do much because they're up 2 rounds. No, he caught me on my way in. I was going to hit him, and that's where he caught me with the little elbow. Even that, I got back up and immediately, I think it was 4 uppercuts in a row. It was like the coolest thing I've ever landed in any fight ever. It was 4 lead uppercuts in a row I landed on. It was just beautiful. So at no point was I gonna rest on my laurels and assume I was winning. I'm into try and finish every fight.
How do you think about that though when you're in the middle of the fight? Your coaches must be telling you something different.
No, my coach and I we groove so well. Everyone that I work with knows that I'm 1 punch away from winning a fight. I just gotta land that punch. Mm-hmm. And so the coaching goes around that. It's like we don't want. I mean, Dan Henderson's my head coach. We don't want decisions. We want finishes.
Yes.
People want finishes. People want knockouts more than submissions even. So when given the opportunity, I take the knockout even.
Sam, quick question. I've always wondered this. Have you ever had time alone with your wife besides conceiving your children? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm curious. Most people don't understand that. I know the entourage that you bring with you, and you have 5 beautiful children, and I'm sure there's animals running around and all these other things. Do you ever get to date alone with your wife?
The last time I've been able to do that in years was when I fought over on Fight Island. My wife came and we were together for a shoot 12 days. It was she and I, and then my other coach had a different room. But it was she and I. My kids weren't allowed to come, so that was about it. We had a good time over there. I mean, it's the most time away from our kids we've had since we've been married, since we've had kids.
I have 5 kids as well, so I know the story. I have 5 boys, and they all fight each other constantly. So, but speaking about kids, still, you also have, you also are a foster parent. Now that's something beyond just having regular kids, like your own biological kids. You're actually taking care of other kids as well. What brought that about?
Well, originally we were trying to adopt a little girl from Africa, and we got a lot of money into it, and then the Ghana, whatever their government is called, Ghanesian, that sounds right. The Ghanesian government shut it down, and they said nobody's adopting any of these kids, and we were very close. And so while we didn't get any money back, we didn't get anything like that, but we've done all this training, we've done all this, let's try another route. And so we jumped into the foster business, and like you said, I have 5 kids. My 5th kid is a foster baby. This month she's going to be legally in Alvey. It'll be a successful.
Congratulations.
We've had her for 3 days old till now, and she will be an official legal Alvey by the end of January. And then we get to probably try again for another foster baby.
So tell me about the Smile Challenge then, because you have on your website Smile MMA. You can go there and there's a Smile Challenge to raise money and awareness for the foster care system. And I mean, let's dive a little deeper into it. Is it a problem in America?
I think it's a problem everywhere, especially now with COVID. It's hard to get people interested in it. It's hard to train them. So when I got trained to be a foster parent, it was classes and classes and classes. They had to teach me the laws, what I could do, what I couldn't do, what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not allowed to say. It was an in-depth process. And now with COVID, the training has gone down significantly. It is so hard to get people into it, involved in doing it. On top of that, you've got the kids that would have been in school. If they are abused, they're usually abused at home, and then they go to school the next day. The teachers, the friends, the family would be able to see. Now these kids have been stuck at home with their abusive parents for 9 months now, or 12 months now, something like that. And the problem has just gotten worse and bigger. So the Make Me Smile Challenge is something me and the Budo Jack Foundation. He's a pretty boxer.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
We started the Make Me Smile Challenge, and it was we were trying to raise as much awareness as we could. We've got about $3,000 or $4,000 gift cards to Amazon for the winners of the contest. And it's just go to my website, smilemma.com. You plug in your email, we'll send you all the information on that. And it's just, you post on social media, and if it makes me smile the most, you'll be in the running for a $1,000 gift card to Amazon.
Yeah, everybody check out the website. It's on the screen right now. SmileMMA.com. Subscribe and send you a video. Is that how it works?
You'll post it on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or whatever. Hashtag Make Me Smile Challenge. And then at the end of everything, we're going to look at the hashtags and pick the winner.
So Sam, when I send you mine and I win, I would like to donate the prize back. Okay. Because I'll pull out all the stops to get that one.
All right, that sounds good.
What did the kids think about Dad, taking punches in the face and watching that on TV? And because, let's be honest, some parents aren't cool with that. I mean, in our house, we watch it all the time, but some people aren't. So what do they think?
Well, Mark would know. He was there for the first one. Maybe not in the room when it happened, but he was there. My oldest is 7 years old now, and her first fight was with the MFC. She actually got to sit ringside, and she was less than 1.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my kids have been ringside with me since fight 1.
It's almost normal. Is it normal for them when you'd say, Sam, now? Like if you were bringing them to a baseball game from the beginning and you were a baseball player, is it kind of similar to that?
Yeah. And they started putting together that, Dad, you're famous. I'm what you call, I'm fighter famous. It's not that famous, but it's so now they call me fighter famous to everyone. So, he's fighter famous. He's smile, and they'll he's smiling Sam, and then they'll smile. So they get a kick out of it.
That's awesome.
Tell me this, because I've done some minor boxing with Mark. He's punched me in the face numerous times, but maybe for people that aren't and have never been in a combat sport, what is the draw? What is the idea? When did you wake up one morning and say, I want to be in MMA. I want to fight people. What was that moment for you that you decided this is something I'm going to do?
It was never, I didn't grow up watching MMA. I never watched boxing. I was never in Taekwondo. I didn't even really wrestle all that much.
Wow.
It was just, I thought it was tough. And I love Jackie Chan. I love the Ninja Turtles. I loved fight scenes in movies. I always assumed that's what fighting was. I'm at this point, I'm 0-1 in the street, but I've done all right in the cage. And it was someone said, "Hey, you want to fight?" So, okay, let's do it. So I went out for an amateur fight. I almost won, and then I got beat up. And I said, well, I can do better. And then we got more, and I was an 11-fight tear, turned pro somewhere in there, started training on my own somewhere in there. And years and years of training and hard work, I ended up with the MFC. And from the MFC, I went to the UFC. So it wasn't something I intended to do. I graduated college. I was going to have my own lifting gym. That was my goal. I always been a trainer.
Wow.
Yeah. And in college, I had a lot of free time. And so I started fighting.
What's it like growing up in Waterford, Wisconsin?
Oh, it was so much fun. I grew up on Lake Tishigan, which was just a little lake inland of
not Michigan, Tishigan.
Not Michigan. Yeah, it was about an hour inland from Michigan. So I grew up on a lake. I was all hunting and fishing all the time. My city was about 4,000 people, so just a little city. I moved out here to California, and it's like, oh my goodness. I live in Temecula, or close to Temecula, and there's 100,000 people in Temecula. Next door is Marietta, Lake Elsinore. There's about 400,000 people in a 30-minute drive, and people call this a small city. Say, oh, yeah. This is massive. This is way too many people.
New York City. It's like New York.
It's like, oh, this is ridiculous.
So when is your next fight scheduled? Is your next fight scheduled yet? Are you allowed to say or not say, or what is the?
No, I don't have anything scheduled just yet. I'm going back down to middleweight. I can't get a judge to give me a decision.
You are going to go back to middleweight, eh?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I can't get a judge to give me a decision at light heavyweight, so yeah. I got to go back down. They chased me out of the division, so I'll go back down to middleweight, and I'll get the belt there first.
Who do you want to fight?
There's two people I would love to fight. Jack Marshman. He and I almost fought a few years ago, and then
great matchup.
I would love that fight. He's a banger. I'm a banger. I would love to make it happen. And then the other one, which is kind of fun, in Mike Perry, I've heard he's going up to middleweight because he missed weight at 70 by pounds. I kind of know him. We're kind of buddies backstage. I think that would be just a hell of a fight.
Oh. But you know, it's funny. Just unfortunately, just yesterday, I saw some stuff online. He's kind of went off the deep end, and and just some really disturbing things that came out yesterday. And it's unfortunate because, you know, we all need proper guidance, and you need someone there to guide him in the right direction. Because that's unfortunately, you see that in the sport, and I hope the best for Mike. But some of the stuff I saw online yesterday on videos and things like that were just very bizarre. Very bizarre.
Sam, do you have an opportunity to be a role model leader? I mean, you have your father, 5. You've obviously got some things figured out. Do you get that opportunity much with other fighters to give some advice to be there for them?
Yeah. So my gym is Team Quest, which is Dan Henderson's gym. So he is the head coach of everything. But I'm one of the coaches. I run the kids program here. I run the amateur team here. I'm one of the professional coaches. At this point, I've got over 70 fights and a wealth of experience. I fought more. I've got more wins than Dan Henderson. He doesn't like that, but I do. I've got more wins than Dan Henderson. I've got a lot more fights than he does. So at this point, I'm a wealth of knowledge in MMA. I love doing it. It never slows me down. So I do everything I can with my pro team, with the younger pros and the amateurs.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I think that one thing growing up, because I don't think we've actually seen a full generation of MMA fighters come, like hockey here in Canada. Hockey's a big deal. Right. There's a big tournament going on right now, but we grow up from the time we can walk, we can skate. And so I don't know if that's really happened yet, but what I think really needs to happen is there be role models along the way, especially when you devote your whole life to something and maybe it doesn't work out, or maybe it does work out. And how do I deal with all the fame? How do I deal with the disappointment? How do I deal with a win or a loss? And it's important that we have guys like you out there being role models for the upcoming next generation.
Well, I've been blessed with what I do. It was not my intention to be a fight famous superstar in the UFC. But I played my cards right, and here I am. Got a beautiful family, live in beautiful Southern California. Have a house, have a car. It's done really well, and anything I can do to help my friends, my family, future fighters come up and get a little piece of what they want, I'm there for them. That's
awesome. I notice sometimes too on social media, Sam, that you will put biblical verses on Instagram stories and things like that. You know, I know a lot of MMA guys are spiritual and have a spiritual background, but not too many are putting it out there publicly. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to broadcast that on their Instagram stories or their Twitter and the rest of that kind of stuff. I see you doing it and I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's super important to spread the word, like especially someone in your position. Have other fighters ever reached out to you and said, have you ever had any backlash, or have you ever had any kind of problems with doing that? Because I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think I'm going on 3 years now where every morning I wake up and I post the biblical verse of the day online. And I get emailed a couple, I think 2 or 3 different sites, and I'll read through and I'll pick the one I like the most and I'll post it for the day. I get 10 to 1. I get more compliments from
I hope
posting
so.
than anything else in my DMs. I'll get the heart buttons or the like buttons or the hey, amen, brother, stuff like that. I get that far more. So it's always been easy for me to spread that. Like I said, I didn't mean to do this. The good Lord had a plan for me. He took a little band nerd out of Waterford, Wisconsin, and put him in the UFC. I can do everything I can from the little platform I have to try and bring others closer to him and try and highlight him in every way I can.
That's incredible. Fantastic. That's awesome, man. So Wisconsin, tell me about the Green Bay Packers then.
Oh. He's good.
It's America's team. It's America's team.
I thought the Cowboys were.
It is now.
They're just so I'm the generation that I've only had greatness with the Packers. I had Brett Favre for my whole youth. I've had Aaron Rodgers now for my whole adulthood. So it's all I've known is success. We don't have as many Super Bowls as I would have liked by now, but I got a good feeling about this year.
Yeah, unfortunately I do too. I'm a Seahawks fan, and I know the road goes through Green Bay now. So
you're the jerks that took it from us a few years ago.
Great story about that. I was watching with the Packers fan.
Yeah, pass was not fair. It was not legal.
The onside kick was not good either that year that they won.
No.
Do you watch, do you have time for other things besides training and raising a family?
Have you seen the new Cobra Kai on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is the greatest show that TV's ever done.
It's the most binge-worthy Netflix show they've ever done.
It is, and I wish they were the hour-long episodes. They're only the 30 to 35
that's right.
minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm slowing it down as best I can, but man, I powered through a lot of them quick.
That's hilarious. If everyone doesn't know, that's the new the Karate Kid kind of spin-off.
Yeah, Ralph Macchio doesn't. He almost looks like the same kid that was in Karate Kid 1 and 2. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I didn't age.
Have you seen season 3 yet?
No.
Okay, well there's a new dojo in town, and it's Eagle Fang. So I've already got my Eagle Fang shirt coming.
That's great. Sam, take some of us behind the scenes. I know Mark and you were very accustomed behind the scenes of the fight world, but what's it like backstage? We always see, the lights, the pre fight thing, the shine, the crowd.
Shine, yeah.
But what's it like with the fighters? Do you talk to these guys? Are you friends with some of these guys, or the guys you don't get along with? Or like, how does it work behind the stage that we don't see?
All week long, whenever I'm, fight week is, I talk to anyone and everyone I can. I'm a very friendly guy. I think that's Wisconsin in me. I moved to Southern California, and people don't talk nearly as much out down here.
No.
But Wisconsin in me still talks a lot. So I'm always looking to chat with everyone. I know everyone that works for the UFC. My wife, actually, every year we send a Christmas card and a gift certificate to Starbucks or something like that to every employee of the UFC.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah. We try our best to know everyone. We try our best to make friends with everyone and to know their names. That's the hard part, because there's a lot of them. But I Slowly, I'm remembering everyone's name.
Well, this is Sam Alvey, everybody, with 20-time UFC fighter, famous. Well, he calls him fighter famous. I say you're just famous because that smile's awesome. But your wife also comes down to your corner, and there's another little piece of history. She's also famous in her own right. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so my wife is more famous than I am. It was about 11 years ago. She won America's Next Top Model. And it is the damnedest thing. She still gets recognized every week from that show.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's crazy. It was before Instagram and social and Twitter and all that was a thing. But it's still just amazing how many people recognize
I watched that show. I mean, everybody watched that show.
Yeah, at one time.
My wife and I, we watched one season, her season.
How did that happen? Everybody wants to know, how did that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Tell all the single guys out there how you can land America's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
I'm very religious. God, he's just throwing me bones. She is. I was with her before she was ever the model. She was with me before I ever set foot in an octagon. We've been together we're going close to 17 years. We've known each other.
Congrats.
Thank you. And from the first fight, it was a free ticket if she was my cornerman. So I said, okay, you can be my corner, then I don't have to buy a ticket for you. And she ran with it. I mean, she took it way more serious than I ever did. She's the reason I moved to California. She did research on gyms across the country, and she picked Dan Henderson's team. She knows the sport better than I. She outranks me in jiu-jitsu. I just hit real hard, and I don't fall over all that easy.
It's true.
I can't praise her highly enough.
That's awesome. So she is in jiu-jitsu as well.
Yes.
Yeah. She is. She's getting close to her black belt. I'm actually getting my brown belt here in about 40 minutes.
Awesome, Sam.
Yeah. So we do the whipping thing, so they'll be.
Oh, you're gonna get it. Yeah.
So I'll get whipped online tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll put that on our Facebook page for people to see that have never seen someone get whipped when they get a brown belt. It's the most bizarre thing. Like, if you're not in the jiu-jitsu world, right, you don't understand it. But if you've seen it, like, it doesn't. You just kind of weird kind of thing. You just get beaten to death, while you're walking through. And I guess as the belt gets higher, it hurts more. Like they start swinging.
They make you do more laps. So brown belt, I got to walk up and down our class 4 times.
Oh yeah, that's right.
How many people?
I hope not many. I don't know who's going.
They're showing up tonight. They're showing up tonight.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sammy. We really appreciate you coming on the show like this with us. You can find him online. I think it's flashing across the screen on the bottom. Everybody, you can find him on Twitter and Instagram, all those places. Well,
find me on TikTok too. I've just developed the TikTok thing, and it is the greatest app that has ever been. I answer questions there, and I do little videos. It is just so much fun.
Sammy, tell him where you are on TikTok. What's the?
I'm at Smiling Sam. It's the same thing across the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart.
All right. So easy to find, everybody. So easy to find.
Check out his website, smilemma.com. Be sure to put your email in and join the Smile Challenge, because that is an amazing thing. Sam, I think you're an inspiration, and I think that a lot of people need to listen to you closer. And we're really excited about the next fight that you have coming up in the UFC, whenever that is. Wherever it is, whenever it is, we're going to be sure to promote that for you, because you get a lot. I think you gained a lot more fans up here in Canada too tonight.
Hey, I appreciate that. I love fighting. I fought in Canada maybe more than I fought in America. In the United States. Yeah, I fought a lot in Canada. MFC was a big part of that.
Oh,
excellent, man. Thanks so much for joining us and being the first guest on the new format that we just started tonight.
Yes.
Oh, no, thank you for having me on. This is wonderful. I'll make sure I share, and I'll send everyone I can to watch you guys every week now.
Thanks so much, Sam. Smiling Sam Alvey, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Smiling Sam.
Thank you, guys.
Well.
Wow.
First
How
guest.
do you like that?
That was awesome.
Listen, to me, he's something special. Most people don't realize it, but I knew Sam when he fought in the MFC when he first came, and he said to me, he said, Mark, I'm in a real crap situation because I was on that Ultimate Fighter show where Dana White said he wasn't going to put anybody from that show in the UFC.
That's right.
And
he was so upset, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was really upset,
He
and he
missed the
said
mark.
that. And I said to Sam, Sam, listen, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. You're going to come in the MFC. And then I started managing Sam when he first started. And I said, you have to be in style matchups, which means the correct matchup between fighter A and fighter B. And he was, right? And I did that with him, and he delivered. I put other guys that want to swing with Sam. And, most of the time,
Right.
if you fight Sam Alvey, if you've watched his fights in the UFC, you've clearly seen he could take a punch. And it's almost like he smiles, but it's like methodically he kind of moves his arms and kind of lulls you into this kind of sleep, and then he throws a right hand and knocks you out, right?
Well, to me, that's what, fighters, you watch the great ones,
Correct.
they get you to play their game with them.
And Sam's a master at that. He really is. He really knows how to do that. And he has just a beautiful wife, great family. And like I said, people really need to, nobody loses 4 fights in a row and then has a draw in 5 fights and gets re-signed with the UFC. I beg to differ, but if anybody that watches the Me and Jesse podcast can tell me different, I highly doubt it. But most of the time, you will get cut after 2, 3 losses, 3 for sure, but 4 and then a draw, you're usually going to get cut. UFC announcers are going to cut 60 people from the roster, not Sam Alvey. They re-sign Sam Alvey, right?
In the ring is one thing, and he's amazing, but
Correct.
but outside, what impacted me the most is how amazing family man he is, husband, father,
he's a practicing Christian.
He's foster parent,
foster parent,
and realizes, hey, this is something that was given to me, and I'm going to make the most of that situation, which I think is an important part for any athlete. You do have a platform. I know
Correct.
some don't like to talk about things, and some don't like to be that, but hey, I really appreciate the ones that get up there and use their platform to actually do good, not just promote another political idea or some other stupid thing, but actually try to get people to do something cool.
But if you check now in the world of sports, no one wants to be a role model. The second you call someone a role model, whether they're in the NBA, NFL, the first thing they'll tell you is, I'm no role model, because that puts too much pressure on them.
Right.
That puts them in a position now where they have to, hey, look at my guy Josh Jacobs yesterday.
Josh Jacobs, Raiders, Oakland Raiders, or what do you call them? Las Vegas Raiders? Whatever.
Correct. Don't be rude.
They don't live anywhere.
Don't be
anyway,
mean. Not necessary. Not
Mark's
necessary.
Raiders, Josh Jacobs.
Listen, I'm going to give
I'm
it to
not
you
laughing about this, but I'm laughing about this, the insanity of this. He gets busted for a DUI. He's going to miss 4 games.
Let me go back to this, though.
Okay.
At the beginning of the season, Jesse Martineau said on the Me and Jesse podcast, he said the Raiders were going to finish 8-8. Now, I always make the stupid mistake by checking our schedule, and I check the games, and I look at the schedule
too,
and I go, we're going to be 10-6 all day. 10-6.
I think it was 11-5.
And I said maybe 11-5. Jesse says, I promise you, Mark, 8-8 done. Now, the season goes on. We're 6-3. I'm like,
well, you beat the Chiefs, which I was like, I'm in jeopardy now.
No, we beat the Chiefs and the Saints.
Yeah,
and I was like, ridiculous. Oh my God, this is it. This is the year Jesse's gonna eat crow because we're 6-3. I looked at the rest of the season. I'm like, we're in the playoffs all day long. We still found a way not to make the playoffs. We finished 8-8. Now, not alone that we finished,
are the Raiders the new Maple Leafs?
No, not yet.
Close.
Not yet. Why you're playing so dirty today. So we're 8-8, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, he's right again. So Jesse, you're right. I apologize. I know shit about football. Apparently NFL. I don't know what's wrong.
Well, you got a little blinded by the black and silver. That's all.
Did, and now the Vegas, and
John Gruden,
but
as I said,
don't,
he doesn't know what he's doing over there. He played great with Tampa Bay 10 years ago. 15 years ago when there was a style that everybody played, and he figured that out. It isn't like that anymore. Derek Carr, as you said 1,000 times, and actually got blocked from Derek Carr's page, He has a low football IQ. He is Mr. Checkdown. He rarely, when they stretch the field, when they actually stretch the field, he did well, and they beat the Saints and the Chiefs. I mean, you can't argue with that number.
Yeah, yep.
But what happened is, I think something happens in his head that he makes a bad play, or they get a little too cautious. And again,
No confidence.
a lot of teams do this, but they get a little cautious, and all of a sudden the wheels come off. And when they come off in Raider Town, there's no moving that boat again, because it is done. And that's it's shocking with some of the. I mean, Darren Waller is an incredible tight end. That guy is
arguably the best in the league. Arguably the best in the
league. Maybe the best after, I will say that maybe he is the best now. That also being said, Josh Jacobs, who will now miss probably 4 games next season, is one of the best young running backs in the game. And they had things going, and their O-line's good, and their defense is good, and they just can't make it work.
What does Josh Jacobs do, though? He gets back from Denver last night, goes out in Vegas, parties it up because he's got a big contract, and then decides to drink and drive and gets caught in Las Vegas, which would probably be the worst city in the world to get caught drinking and driving.
And also, Mark, though, the easiest city to get an Uber in.
Well, are you joking? Or a cab? Or a cab? Or wait a second. You're Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Just put your hand up. You'll get a ride home. Okay? Just put your hand up, man. And it's unbelievable. And you know what you start to remember about this, regardless if these guys are paid lots of money or not? They're kids. They're still kids.
Well, you go through, and I do like the way the NFL does it, where you put someone through college. I really do like that. I actually wish hockey did the same thing. I actually wish all sports did the same thing. But that being said, it still proves that they need more life skills to be taught. Because again, this is the reality of the situation. A lot of people are coming from impoverished parts of the country, growing up a certain way, learning and by example a certain thing.
Correct.
And then when they get millions of dollars, no one has taught them how to deal with that. And that is something that, has gotten better, but it hasn't actually got to a point where we start seeing stuff like this. Yeah. See, that's where hockey is a little different now, because typically to play hockey, your parents need to have a bit more money. There's a lot more involved in certain things that you have to be around.
That's not a cheap sport.
It's not a cheap sport. So there's a bigger investment along the way. So you learn some of those, I want to say, moralistic ways, even though I'm not calling hockey players moral by any stretch. But there's a lot less of them in the news than there are football players.
Okay, now let's get off the NFL kick, because you guys finished the season great. You're in great situation. But I don't want to talk about NFL football until next September. So, I'm kidding.
Because I need the Hawks to win this week.
And wait a second. It's 4-0 for Canada right now over Russia, just letting everybody know. Yeah. And also, can we talk about Steph Curry, please? Can we?
I guess.
62 points. No, it's not 32, 42,
but when
52.
you shoot 120 times a game, that's
62
points.
That's
what happened with Kobe in his last game. He had 60-something points, but nobody else shot the ball.
They got to run their mouth. They ran their mouth about Steph. And then he had to so he scores 62 points.
Doubt Steph is unreal. I love Steph, but he is unreal.
I don't want to talk anymore about Steph. I just want to say 62 points against the Blazers. End of story. Steph Curry, fantastic. Arguably one of the greatest shooters of all time in the NBA.
Do you remember a guy named Larry Bird?
I do. A big fan. I love Larry Bird.
The Raptors, though, on the other hand, are in trouble.
We need a star.
We need something.
We need a star.
Pascal has, I don't know what's going on, but since the COVID bubble happened, the guy was having an unreal season before COVID hit.
One star. Year. We need one star, and we're money in the bank.
People want James Harden. I'm not sure he's the right one, but maybe for 2 years, fine. But that being said, Pascal, we had all our hopes on Pascal, and I love Spicy P. I think he's awesome. However, since COVID hit, he's fallen off. He's non-existent. Fouled out in the last 2 games.
Fallen off.
He's non-existent. He's getting 10 points a game. He is, and again, maybe he can't handle some of the pressure. is that he was the reason we lost against the Celtics. 100%. It was 100% on him because he had to give him so many minutes and he couldn't score. And now this season, we have still the greatest bench. We still have an amazing. The Raps still have an amazing bench. Still have a great chance of something. They need somebody to carry some of this pressure that clearly Pascal can't.
But even we don't have a star. Lowry is a fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree. We don't have that upper echelon, next level guy where James Harden could be.
Yes.
I don't know if James Harden comes and it blows up because of who James Harden is.
No, it won't. No, I think that team has the demeanor with Lowry and the rest of them that they have a demeanor where he would fit in perfectly. Point. You know,
because they did deal with Kawhi last year, and clearly there were some issues with Kawhi.
Yeah, and Kawhi didn't win though. He didn't win the year after. So there's no like everybody.
But Lowry did have to deal with Kawhi, so maybe there is some part in the dressing room, and that core is still there. So maybe they could deal with James. James doesn't like being second fiddle, and I think that he could be first fiddle in Toronto.
He would be first fiddle.
It is a tough one though because 2-year contract is a lot of money. We do have the cap space. It is possible.
Yes.
I just don't know if he wants to go to Toronto.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Why not?
He did say he wanted to go to Milwaukee now, so I'm pretty sure Toronto's better than Milwaukee. The Bucks have a great team, but you have to live in Milwaukee.
But he also is looking at. Yeah, I agree. Milwaukee's a shithole. So but people can say anything they want. Toronto's a great city for that, and on top of it, that team, if he gets on that team, it changes the whole. Changes the whole complexity of it all.
But any player of that caliber would. Who else? The problem is that there's nobody really out there right now that.
No, but you have a supporting cast though that's been there before. You have a supporting cast that's been there before, and that guys that know that smell, they know what it feels like to go deep in those rounds, and that's the difference. If you add James Harden in with that's good. I'm not going to say they would win the whole thing. I'm just saying they could go far with him.
Well, hockey is also coming up. Hockey training camp's starting right now. It is a weird looking thing. We have like a whole Canadian division, which...
What are you talking about? The season starts next Wednesday.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the 13th it starts. So I better get my hockey pool together.
Mark my words this, though. Same thing in the NFL. When they want to bypass the preseason, they want to bypass all this stuff, people get hurt.
Yes.
So
we
when
saw
you
that at the beginning of the season. Like my number one pick, Saquon Barkley, and my keeper from every league I have down because there's no time to warm up. And people argue, well, he wouldn't have played anyway. Who wouldn't have played anyway? Yeah, but there was those 4 weeks where he would actually be getting contact and practice at the very least, where he didn't get to have. And so as much as I hate the preseason and I refuse to watch preseason hockey or put any sort of stock in it,
of course.
other than practice, which is important.
Did you say practice?
Practice. I said practice. But I do believe practice is important. That being said, I think it's stupid. I do think it is a necessity for players to actually have, because if you don't have that, you actually are running the risk of screwing your whole season. I mean, Stamkos again goes down. And again, the guy comes and plays one game and scores on his first shift or third shift or whatever in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
They win the cup, blah, blah, blah. But again, a human body is a finite thing. It is something that takes a beating, yet the more and more beating it takes and the less and less time it has to warm up. Remember when you were 12 years old and you threw a baseball 100 times and you'd be fine? And now, being 40 plus,
correct,
you got to warm up for 25 minutes before you're getting any sort of heat on that ball now. So the body does that. So you need that time to actually get into game shape.
Well, the reason why something just clicked when you were saying the word beating. Next week's guest, everybody.
Oh,
the one and only George LaRock.
I got a cool slide for this.
We'll be on the Me and Jesse podcast. He kept saying the word beating, and I kept thinking George LaRock. George LaRock will be on the show next week.
One
everybody.
of the scariest.
Prince George.
One of the scariest fighters of all time in the NHL. I mean, his hands are bigger than most people's faces. And so, we're very excited, George LaRock. I know, again, and this one thing about this show you're going to know is who we like and who we don't like. I hate the Oilers. I think the Oilers suck. but I'm also a Calgary Flames fan, so that's why. And we don't care about bias on this show. We don't care about who we like and don't like. We're gonna say what we think, and that is what I think is that the Oilers have big trouble. So, but George LaRocque is an awesome person, and that's what's cool. The problem is that he beat the crap out of my team for years. And I bet you a lot of guys still have nightmares or PTSD when they wake up thinking about George LaRocque.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine George decides it's your time to go? Yeah. Kid comes off the bench and he looks at you and says, "Kid, we're gonna go.
We're gonna dance.
And the kid, we're gonna dance."
But
what do you say?
Respect to the people that did drop the gloves.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you just fought George LaRocque. Yeah, you got beat up, but you decided to say yes. You did.
You'll tell your grandkids. You'll tell your grandkids.
I danced with George LaRocque. It's like the boxer in Edmonton that fought Tyson or sparred with Tyson.
Yeah, Ken LaCusta. Yeah.
Who gets in the ring with Mike Tyson? Do you know? People don't know this. Here's some sports trivia. Mike Tyson was going to fight in Edmonton at one point.
Yeah.
In the prime. Ken LaCusta, Edmonton native, decides I'm going to spar with Mike Tyson. Nobody wanted to spar with Mike Tyson. Was a man killer.
He was known for that. He was known for knocking out his sparring partners so he wouldn't have to stay. Yeah.
And Ken LaCusta got in there and didn't get knocked out, did he?
You can YouTube it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
I recommend it.
84 or something? 80.
I don't remember the year, but it was fantastic.
Well, we've had a lot of great comments already. Rob here says, had to tune in and hear that Jesse hates the Oilers. I'm going to publish these comments because some of these are funny. But thank you. By the way, all the comments, we try to get a bunch of them live on the screen so you can see and be a part of the show. We still love that interaction, and thank you so much for commenting. Rob said, "Damn, I had to tune in to hear Jesse hates the Oilers," with a bunch of mad faces. Matt Pavlich. Matt Pavlich. Commented on the show. "Good luck with your new show," all in capitals, which means he meant it. Matt Pavlich, the first ever hockey official in the NHL Hall of Fame. Also, Mark Pavlich's father. One day we have to get Mr. P on.
Everybody wants him on the show because
I do. I really do. The stories. I've had a great opportunity and privilege, straight up privilege, to sit down and hear some of the stories. You ask about the Canada-Russia series. You ask about Bobby Orr. You ask about the Mahovliches. You ask about what it's like to see the last time the Leafs won a cup.
Well, what about this? What about the story?
What about the story? You got the stories. What about the Ken Dryden?
What about the Ken Dryden story?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, too.
Most people don't know that story. My father was on the ice the last time Ken Dryden. This is a true story. The last time my father was on the ice, Ken Dryden, it was his last game. So when the buzzer rings, my father can tell you the year. If he's still watching the show, he can tell you the year. This is a true story. And my dad went to go pick up the puck, and Ken Dryden skates over to my dad, and he says, like, he thinks my dad's going to give him the puck, right? And my dad says,
"Oh, right." It was both their last game.
Both their last games the same day. And Ken Dryden looks at my dad and he says, "Hey, Matt, it's my last game, And he thinks my dad's going to put the puck in his mitt. And my dad looks at Ken and says, Ken, it's my last game tonight too." And my dad takes the puck and sticks it in his pocket and skates off. And Ken Dryden says,
now? "Okay, go ahead." Yeah.
So Ken Dryden says to my dad, "Hey, whoever dies first, the other guy gets it." You know what I mean? So I don't know. Someone should find out where my dad put that puck, because
absolutely.
That's a pretty symbolic puck. But listen, if there's anybody in the world, I know he's my dad, but if there's anybody in the world that could write a hockey book that you could actually read and believe, my dad would be the guy. Unfortunately, my father doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, because there's a lot of people out there
there's a lot of dicks out there.
There's a lot of cheese balls out there, a lot of douchebags in the NHL. And my father, he's not going to call anybody out on the carpet, but when he comes for Christmas and we have our Saturday coffees, it is a full house when my dad shows up.
Mark doesn't like hearing about the stories so much, so we wait till he goes to the washroom and then we ask him a bunch. But no, it is, and what a wealth of knowledge too. You can still to this day, Still to this day, you ask him about hockey, and he has an insight and a mind that most people don't have for
He's
hockey.
86. He's 86 years old, eh? Like, people don't understand that. Like, he's with us, and he's telling these stories, like, at warp speed, bang, bang, bang. And you're like, he's 86. And he's like, doesn't miss a beat when he's telling the story. It's incredible. It really is.
That's
so
awesome.
We're so excited about the new podcast format because we've had nothing but great success with guests that want to be on the show. Future guests next week. Don't forget, George LaRocque is going to be on the show. We've got people like, hey, remember Phil Baroni?
Mm-hmm.
The New York Badass, we got him confirmed. We're in the process. We have so many different guests that we have. It won't be MMA. It'll be NHL hockey, NFL, MMA, and we're just going to keep mixing it up and things like that. We're very excited. Listen, guys, you can always find Jesse Martineau on all social media at Jesse Martineau, and that's on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and I believe TikTok.
I am on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. Yeah.
Same with Smile and Sam. Well, you can find Mark Pavlich on all social media at Mark Pavlich, and it's the same on everything
and I'm not on
except on TikTok.
Dude, I'll find that TikTok.
He might have an account, but he doesn't post any videos.
I have an account, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm an adult, and an adult shouldn't be on TikTok.
It's either you're 12 or 35 plus.
Correct. And last time I checked,
there's a lot of moms on there.
I'm 53. I'm 53.
Okay.
So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter, and that's where I'll be. You cannot find me anywhere else. But don't forget, everybody, next week's guest, boy, we're super stoked to have George LaRocque on the show.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Obviously, what we like to do and what we want to do on this is show a little beyond what people were on the ice. And there's a lot of things that maybe you don't know about George LaRocque, even some political things you might not have known that you're going to be shocked about. So make sure you tune into that. What we're going to do from now on is there always being
we got time to talk about the Ryan Garcia fight, right? I don't want to forget the Ryan Garcia.
But hold on a second.
Go ahead.
We do have so after the show, come on back on tomorrow. You can always rewatch the show. You can share it. We love likes, comments, and shares, obviously. Share is a very, very powerful thing on Facebook, so don't forget that part. But also, you can join the event for next week with the George LaRocque, so you be sure not to miss that one. All right, fight coming up, boxing. What's going on?
Oh, did you see this weekend Ryan Garcia fight on the Zone? The kid is beyond special.
Well, he's legit.
And you know what's funny? I love all you.
Maybe not Lomachenko legit.
Well, you know, you nerds out there that think you know about boxing, but you don't know jack shit about boxing. You know what the great part about it? The kid gets knocked down early in the fight. And I mean, he gets cracked. Yeah. Like, I mean, whack. And he is down. He got up, and then he put him out, Luke Campbell out, with a body shot. Luke Campbell's never been stopped in his career. And then I was looking at the fight after, and everybody's trying to match him up with all Devin Haney, and they're trying to with Tank Mayfield's guy, and they're trying to match him up. And I keep telling everybody, stop doing that. He's 22 years old. Okay, he's a 22-year-old kid. Let him get that man strength up just a titch before you start putting him with certain people. But they're rushing him. They want him to fight.
How was Tyson when he really started to really crush him?
Well, also too though, Jesse, there you go. Tyson was killing guys at 20, but the difference was too, those guys weren't world beaters he was fighting. No. You know, the first 20 guys.
You got to wait a few years.
Correct. So the thing is, they have to be careful with Garcia because he is really special. He looks great. He talks well. He's a great kid. His hand speed is unbelievable. And he is Oscar De La Hoya 2.0. So he is Oscar De La Hoya, but 2.0. And I think even Oscar.
I liked Oscar.
Me too. Everybody does. And you know what's weird? You could see this kid going down that road. And guess who his best friend is now? Canelo Alvarez. Oh. So Canelo is there all the time, watching over him, giving him advice.
They're big into DAZN. I think Canelo must own part of DAZN or something because they both put their fights on there, which is crazy.
How good is Canelo right now? Like, I mean,
I thought he was tapering off, but maybe not.
No, there is no tapering. He's coming into his prime. Most people don't realize this. When he fought Floyd Mayweather, he was not in his prime.
And he won that fight.
Well, some people think so. I don't think so, but Canelo is with him constantly, and I'm telling you, that's a great plus to have that kind of knowledge and wisdom in your corner.
Quickly,
And
Mark, we got a question for you. What do you think about the Jake Paul stuff with boxing?
I hate it. I hate it right from the beginning. I believe the older brother has officially blocked me from Twitter because I told him one time, I told the older brother that I will fight you and my son will fight your younger brother. And I'm 53. My son will crush the younger brother. He will murder him. Dave would murder that kid. And so, everybody's watching it on YouTube and they're sparring with certain people. And you say, and listen, I'm not a Jake Paul hater. Okay. I understand Logan Paul and Jake Paul. You can go and make all the money in the world you want.
Yes.
Okay. That's fantastic. But please, everybody, do not compare. When he fought against the basketball Nate, whatever his name is, do people do people not understand that basketball players are probably the worst fighters on the planet? Yeah. And that's why guys like Evander Kane and stuff, hockey guys were like, hey, I'll fight you, and I'll tell you, that's a whole different league of guys from hockey that go, I'll fight you, than when an NBA guy goes, I'll fight you. So please don't get that misconstrued. I want everybody to make the most money they can make, but Logan Paul and Jake Paul, and they're going to consistently make a lot of money, but you better be very careful what boundaries you step out of. They're calling out Michael Bisping. And I'm like, that's a mistake. Michael Bisping will murder you.
Yeah, Michael Bisping, the guy, he could be on the couch for another 8 months and you still knock him out.
Correct. But what people don't understand is these guys that they're fighting don't know how to box.
No.
So when the barrage of punches come,
well, that's another thing that too. People were saying the next day that Evander Kane from the NHL and stuff wanted to do. No, they have some training, but boxing is a little different from hockey fighting.
Correct. Well, listen. George Laroque will be on our show next week. He could tell you stories about boxing with real boxers next week. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So on the ice, George is the king, but in a ring, it's much different. So people don't understand that. But until you've done it, you don't understand. Logan and Jake Paul are going to make a ton of money doing this. They're going to keep. It's going to be like they're just going to call out the next superstar.
And that's what this is about. Let's call it spade a spade. This is about making money, and they made a lot.
Well, the Tyson Roy Jones pay-per-view made $62 million. Yeah. And don't tell me that was probably the worst pay-per-view in history.
Oh, it was so awkward.
Well,
it was a cringe fest.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg was smoking a joint the size of my finger.
I don't mind like changing the genre to rap and stuff. I don't mind that, but it was cringeworthy. Like it wasn't. It was awkward the whole time. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And so they were boxing while there's like weed lofting and like.
Yeah, which is what commission in the world would allow that, right? So, unfortunately, this is what's going on now in sports. When a pandemic breaks out, now you have reinventions of things, and it's crazy because we still want to watch great boxing. Because when we watch Canelo fight, and we watch Garcia fight, and we watch Tank fight, and we watch these guys fight. That's great boxing. Hey, when we watch Jelena Marjanovic box, that's great boxing. We watched her box recently. Her first fight in the States, she did fantastic. She won. It was just so great to watch her back in the unanimous decision, but she really did box great with all the struggles she's gone through lately, and we love her. And soon enough we'll have her on the show as well. Everybody, don't worry.
I'm gonna name a street after her here in Edmonton.
Well, let's hope so, right? Let's hope so. She well deserves it. There's no question. And that's it. We all have to figure out in the new year what we're going to watch for entertainment and where we're going to spend our entertainment dollars.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thanks so much for watching. This has been the first ever sports episode of the Me and Jesse podcast. Thank you so much to our guest, Sam Alvey, Smiling Sam Alvey from Southern California. Great guest, great human being, to be honest with you.
Great human.
Father, husband, foster parent, and 20-time UFC fighter, not to mention MFC world champion. Was he MFC world champion?
Yes, he was. Listen, how you can't follow him? Yeah. You want to follow. Why not follow someone that wants to be a role model?
Absolutely, and a good one.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Sam, for joining us. You can always message us, maybe you have a guest that you want to see. We'll get those guys. Send us a message, like, comment, share this video. Make sure you say hi to Mark on all his social media. And next week we have George the Rock, so don't miss that one either. Everybody, thanks so much for watching, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time that we have on the Me and Jesse podcast.
See you next
always
week.
Always use the hashtag Sports Talk 365.
It's fine.
Join us next week with George the Rock. We'll see you next time on the Me and Jesse podcast.
Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavlich and Jesse Martineau.